We have, I just said to Shelley that this is open eye is the nakedness of meditation. We're becoming kind of naked with each other, connecting in this way. It's a unique way to look and to connect this way. And you're kind of, there's a nakedness about that I love. That is a freeingness, a letting yourself go so that someone can see you, and then letting yourself go enough where you start to see the other person. So really this open eye, to me, it's more about the idea of just being naked and letting go, and then allowing yourself to do that more and more throughout your day and throughout your life, because there's a freedom in that. I mean, all you have to do is look at babies, they don't like clothes on, they just throw that stuff off and they're running around naked and there's a beauty about that. So today it's just more about, the nakedness of open eye and allowing yourself to connect with me and connect with everyone here so that we're deeper in ourselves. So that's the depth of what we do here. I always like this idea. Everyone's heard this statement before. The statement is, wherever you go, there you are. Right? That's really, wherever you go, there you are. So no matter where you are, right? Go to Italy. Italy's there, but there you drag yourself everywhere you go. It's kind of an interesting thought. There's two ways to look at this. One is wherever you go travel-wise, right? Where we go somewhere, like to Italy or to the ocean or to Russia or wherever, we're there too. Our totality of who we are is also there. So that's kind of on a travel level where we get in the car, we drive someone and there we are there too. We were here and now we're there. And we're there and now we're back to here. And that's on a physical level. It feels that we are always there wherever it is that we will go to. So even though we say we're going to go somewhere, we're actually ourselves in that place. Hi, kitty cat. So we're always there. On the other level, wherever you go in your mind, there you are. So when you think into the future, which we do really well, we leave this place and go there. So it feels like our totality is in this future place. It's kind of like a dream. We feel like we're in this dream, we're in the dream, we're there fully. And it feels real at the time until we wake up, and then it doesn't feel so real. And kind of like, it's a little bit like that too when we go into the future, into the past. It feels real because we're there. Our mind puts us in these places. And when we put these places, we go there. So wherever our mind goes, we go there too. Most of the time, it's not really here. But when you're here, when you're fully here, because it's a completely different experience. There's a certain high about it, a certain depth about it, a certain kind of awakening. There's a depth to it for sure. When you're fully here, when all of you is just here. We've been watching going back in time to watch Star Wars. episodes, and I think we're on the second one, the first trilogy. I think it's let's see, 4, and it's just when Yoda shows up and tells you Luke. Luke's like, I got to get going. I got to find this Yoda character. Got to go somewhere. Got to find this guy to get this enlightenment stuff. Right? Because it's certainly not in this little house eating this crappy food. And I didn't even want to taste it. I got to go. I got to go somewhere. And then he starts talking to Obi-Wan, and kid realizes that, oh my God, this little guy is Yoda. And then Yoda's like saying, you are not ready for this training because you're never here, right? Like wherever you are, there you are, and you're over there. And this training is here. Feeling the force is completely here. You don't feel the force later or in the past. You may have felt it, but you don't feel it now. Letting it course through you. So the notion that we're really not totally here, and that wherever our mind takes us, whether it's the physical taking us somewhere or our mind taking us somewhere, we are there. And that's the challenge, isn't it? Because it's easy to take ourselves somewhere physically to be there. But it's so much faster because it doesn't require any kind of transportation, a train or a plane or a car or a bus or our feet. We can do it like that, right? It's so quick. We're here, we're kind of feel like we're here, and all of a sudden something happens, and then boom, we go these two different directions. And then we plant ourselves over there, or we plant ourselves over here, but not right this place. And then we kind of pay a price because every moment you're really not in this space here fully, there is a reduction in reality and a reduction in being. It doesn't have the same power. There's no power really in it, in that being somewhere else. So that's the challenge, isn't it? Because to be where we are and to know that we're in the future, thinking about, worrying about, or in the past, thinking about, worrying about what happened and projecting that into the future, then we're taking ourselves into that truth. But as Yoda reminded us, this force is all around us, and it has this intelligence that binds everything together. That's kind of where you feel in the oneness, and love is in this place. True love is here, not in the future or in the past. That is not true love. That's our minds taking us to some other projected place, but that's not true love or true presence. And as I've said before, presence is not just this moment. It does contain, you could say, all time. It contains past, present, and future. But neither one of those places are separate. I don't separate them into future or separate them into the past. Because once we do that, then we've lost here and we go somewhere else. And every moment we're in this other place, we're not here fully, experiencing really what is at our fingertips right in this moment. Everything that's accessible is right here. It's not accessible in the future and not accessible in the past. Doesn't mean that you have goals and wishes and dreams and wants in the future. But if we spend too much time there, then we lose the depth of this moment that gives us everything we need. Nothing that's not needed is here. Everything is here. Everything. Even the future's here, even the past is here. But there's an intelligence that changes how those two things are seen. It's like seeing the future, but you're here. Realizing the past, but you're here. The power is here. I can change the past completely by being here. I can change all my suffering right this moment in an instant, and it would be gone. So the question is, where, when I say wherever you go, there you are, who are you bringing? That's the key. Are you bringing someone who is never really here into that place? Or are you bringing yourself fully, realizing that the depth of what this moment contains? Both the present, past, and future. It sounds odd, doesn't it, that when I say the present contains these other two places. It doesn't make sense. It seems like our mind can only segment them. Segment now, and then if we go into, because I see this happen a lot with people who are like meditators, and they get all upset when they go into the future or they get pulled into the past, and they're trying to be here. But the mind is too tricky because it'll just move you around constantly into the future and the past. That's just kind of the nature of the mind. It's just very dynamic. So you can't let it, you can't suck it and just keep it here, because it's not going to want to just stay here, because you've broken it up into past, present, future. But there's a place where this presence contains them all. It's not separate. It doesn't separate it out. The mind is the only one that's separating time out. And so what it does when it goes into the future, we're all in the future. And we're creating, scenarios about the future. And a lot of that future is based on what's happened in the past. It's not fully free. When I work with people who are exercising, and first thing I like look at what they do, and then I'm like, you're not here. You're doing this in the past, right? People are doing things from the past, even though it feels like you're doing it in the present, but you've dragged along the past into this moment. So here I am over here I am right here, and here I am in the future. And which one is it that you do? It's like having three different personalities. We're just bouncing around constantly in that place. This place here. I'm sure you felt it, where you just feel the kind of totality of timelessness. And you just kind of know it, like there's something that's different here. It's a different experience, a different feeling. So if we're catching ourselves into the future, then we know we're not fully in the present space. Although it seems like we're present because we're in the future with it. So we've kind of dragged ourselves there. But it's really risky. Risky. And you spend a lot of time there, and most of it doesn't even come to fruition. Most of it doesn't even exist. Most of it doesn't really even happen. Wherever you go, there you are. Yeah. Just stay in this place and watch it expand. Just feel it and let it take you. You can't comprehend these two spaces, past, present, future, as one. It's too difficult for this thing, because we've broken them up into three different categories. Sometimes when you're just sitting here and just feeling this, letting it go, See what happens. Just let it go. Let yourself go and see if you can move beyond what your mind thinks is just the present moment and go deeper than that. It's all available in all of us for sure. Now, when you go, you're fully have access to all of this. The force be with you, the force is in you. Then you can feel the past, present, and future simultaneously. It's more of a scene than it is these 2, 3 different places. Feeling and knowing these places is a kind of a knowingness about the past, present, and future arising when you're fully here. So you're not really ever going anywhere, ultimately. There's nowhere to go, ultimately. It takes a lot of pressure off. There's nowhere to go. It's really easy. Totally easy about it. So thank you so much. It's been fun kind of watching the Star Wars thing again. And, like obviously the shooting part's not as powerful to me as the depth of the message itself, of just being fully here. Then you're just rooted here. And it is awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you. You know, in the Star Wars, and when Luke is like, just finds out, right, that Yoda is this Jedi master, and he's telling Yoda that he's not afraid. He's like, I can do this. I am not afraid of doing this. And then Yoda just looks at him and just kind of changes his whole face and gets super serious and says, you will. Because he knows that when you touch this other, like the force is this reality, it does change reality, like really changes reality. And when it starts to change reality, it gets a little freaky. I mean, reality starts getting weird. That's why, like, the difference between kind of base physics and quantum physics is such a different, it gets weird, right? Quarks and all this crazy stuff that scientists talk about, that the reality becomes really, really different. And you start to know when you're getting closer to that force sense, is that when reality starts to get distorted in the normal way of you would normally see it. As I said, in past, present, and future, those things start to get blurred. And when that starts to get blurred, it gets a little freaky. You're uncomfortable because you're not used to that. It's like someone, I've heard people had these drug kits and they go, they take a drug and they did not what they expected, and they kind of start to freak out because it throws reality and it kind of distorts the crap out of it. And people are not used to that. But if it's a flow that works, then you want to go more into it, deeper into it. But sometimes it's going to like just twist your reality so much that it's going to be uncomfortable, right? And it might be a little fearful at times, but that's just kind of like that's testing you out. If you're ready for this transformation, this consciousness shift, this reality bending. I mean, everyone here, I know Shelley has these experiences like this where she can see things, and it's like, wow, it's like it's magical, these experiences that she has. And everyone has these different, but they're different, but they have some experience where they touch this other place. And because you touch it and it gets whoa, what's that? And You might want to be back off. Some people go into it and want to get more into it. Others, kind of back off from it. But it's just kind of reminding you that reality is meant to be completely bent and changed and tweaked. And that's when the sameness of life completely changes. And all the things that we took for granted, like Peter said in the beginning, taking for granted just the idea of breathing clean air. But this is a different place, because then you see that death and things like that start to dissolve. They start to fall apart too. The notion of all this stuff that our mind makes up starts to fall apart. And it's a little bit unsettling in many ways, especially if it comes really fast. Then it can really unsettle you. These Kundalini things. We had a Toastmaster meeting. One of the members really is into the Kundalini, and so she has teachers, and she's wanted to, have these experiences to go and kind of awaken. And sometimes these things come in and can really, hit you. That's why it's good to have some guidance to help you walk through that kind of change of reality. But it's that's what we're here for. Go for it, right? Like just go for it. When it starts to come in, man, just go for it, because that's will make life completely exciting and in the most beautiful way, right? When you really get zapped by love, like what love really, really is, it just takes you over, and you see it everywhere. The thing that's I find with everybody is that they've had these experiences and they completely forget about them, even though in the moment they're incredible. I mean, I remembered things that were like I'd totally forgotten, and then in the moment I awoke, they all kind of came together, and one led the way, but I had completely forgotten about it. And so I'm always telling people, write down your experiences that you have. So it'll kind of, when as we know, when we write things down, when we write it down, it strengthens it, kind of it connects to ourselves. Just the act of writing or typing deepens it in ourselves. But these moments arise and then we forget about it. But these things are awakenings. They're just mini awakenings that they didn't fully open up. But I'm telling you, it's just all it takes sometimes. It's just this one moment like that, and then it can just open you up fully, like just hit you hard and awaken you just like that. Even an experience like that, because you just all of a sudden notice that I am that. There is no separation. I mean, even the reaction that you had to that physical thing touching. So you have a thing in you that when you let go, something connects with you. And because I think it's hard to not, because you've kind of kept we keep a very close sense of reality to, keep it manageable. And that's what the mind likes to do. It just takes keep it as simple as possible so it doesn't get overwhelmed. And then when these things arise, it's like, what the heck was that? And then it kind of drives us back into this little cocoon again. So I just would recommend to write it down, so you kind of, oh my gosh, that was something. Even that one you just said with the game and stuff, I would write those down, because you would start to notice that you have these openings that you didn't even realize you have, and you have more than you know. But because we get sucked back into this reality, we lose track of it, we forget it. But it's asking us to stretch ourselves out. But then we're comfortable here, but this is the awe part out here. Oh my God, what awe? But here is not so awe. It doesn't keep us in that very simplistic thing. So when you have these awe moments, it's asking you to stretch it's stretching you out. And if you just keep stretching you out like that, it could really things will start to happen more often. These things will start to rise quicker and quicker. The more you start to realize this truth, the more it starts to come in, and feel the force, right? That's when you start and it's all around you constantly. Then these things are just constant. They just keep coming at you. But in the interim, you just start to notice them. And the more you write them and notice them, the more they start to, oh my gosh, I didn't notice that before, but that's wow. And you'll start to be more fine-tuned. You'll be more sensitive to this opening. A lot of times we walk right over them. We have something, we just walk right over them, don't even realize it happened, but it did happen, and we missed it. And then we missed it again, and we missed it again, and we missed it again, and we missed it again. And then, oh, that's a bigger one, so we notice that one. But there's a bunch of small ones that are happening in all the time, but we're not open to see that. And so all I'm saying is just let yourself notice that, and then you're like, oh my gosh, there's another one. That's even small ones, just that small things that are just kind of opening up to something that you already know. These are knowings that are already in you. They're completely in you. It's just allowing yourself to go into them deeply, to really take this mind and kind of break it wide open, so it's not so closed. Then things change immensely, and then you have access to this knowing, God knowing, whatever you want to call it. It's just infinite knowing. That's when you collapse that into this, then those things will just be around all the time.